Good day, Norman Grade 8 learners. I am Teacher Jane Mccary from the Division of Hingog City. Welcome to the new and exciting segment of Learning English, where English is as easy as ABC. I hope you are comfortable wherever you are sitting or standing right now, and just relax while watching attentively to our new lesson. Get ready with your mobile, pen, and notebook. Today, you will be able to define primary and secondary sources. Differentiate primary source of information from secondary source of information, and examine the content of an outline using notes from primary and secondary sources. What is your idea when you hear or read the word source? How about sources of information? I am very sure that you want to learn more about them. Are you ready, grade 8 learners? Let's begin with a review of your past lesson. Last time, we talked about the use of appropriate grammatical signals or expression suitable to each pattern of idea development, such as developing your ideas from general to specific, claim to counterclaim, problem to solution, and cause and effects. Can you still remember those grammatical signals? Okay, to name a few we have because, as a result, then, could, must, and so many more. Were you able to answer your assignment from the previous lesson? This time, I am going to show you the answers. Please get your notebook and pen, and let's check your answers. How many correct answers did you get? Good job, learners! Now, we can proceed to our lesson. What is your idea when you hear or read the word outline? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, an outline is a summary of a written word. In writing an outline of a certain topic, it is very important to know the sources of information and to recognize them. Am I right? Do you love reading? If you do, what are the reading materials you usually scan or read? Now, I want you to get your ball pen and your notebook. Write down at least 5 reading materials you usually scan or read. I will give you 5 seconds to do it. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. Are you done? Good job, learners! Now, I will show you some examples of reading materials. You may check if you have these reading materials in your notebook.
These are some of the examples of reading materials: diaries, newspapers, textbooks, magazines, dictionaries, and so many more. Did you have these reading materials in your notebook? Very good, learners! How will you know if you have the right information from a certain source? In order to know if you got the right information, you need to find out if it is taken from a trusted source. It is also very important to check first the type of information you read or hear before trusting them. Did you get it right, learners? Alright, very good.
When you do research, you have to gather information and evidences from a variety of sources. Am I right? In this case, you need information from primary and secondary sources to support your research. What is a primary source information?
Primary source of information provides raw information and first-hand evidence of an actual event. Also, primary sources represent original thinking, reports on discoveries or events to share new information. What are examples of primary source information? For original documents, we have diaries, speeches, manuscripts, letters, interviews, records, eyewitness accounts, and autobiographies. For empirical scholarly works, we have research articles, clinical reports, case studies, and dissertations. For creative works, we have poetry, music, video, and photography.
What is a secondary source information?
Secondary source of information is created later by someone who did not experience firsthand or participate in the events or conditions that he or she is researching. Also, secondary sources help explain new or different positions of ideas about primary sources. What are the examples of secondary source information? The examples of secondary source information are journal articles, reviews, academic books, textbooks, and commentaries. A secondary source information describes, interprets, or synthesizes primary sources. How will you recognize a primary source information from a secondary source information? Like for example, if you have novel as primary source, your secondary source should be article analyzing the novel. If you have painting as primary source, your secondary source should be exhibition catalog explaining the painting. If you have letters and diaries written by historical figure, your secondary source should be biography of the historical figure. If you have photographs of historical event as primary source, your secondary source should be documentary about the historical event. If you have government documents about a new policy as primary source, your secondary source should be newspaper article about the new policy. If you have music recordings as primary source, your secondary source should be academic book about the musical style. If you have results of an opinion poll as primary source, your secondary source should be blog post interpreting the results of the poll. And if you have empirical study as primary source, your secondary source should be literature review that cites the study. What are the advantages of using primary source information? Primary sources are the foundation of original research. They allow you to make new discoveries, provide credible evidence for your arguments, and give authoritative information about your topic. Again, the advantages of using primary source information allow you to make new discoveries, provide credible evidence for your arguments, and give authoritative information about your topic. What are the advantages of using secondary source information? Secondary sources allow you to gain background information on the topic, support or contrast your arguments with other researchers' ideas, and gather information from primary sources that you can't access directly, like private letters or physical documents located elsewhere. Again, secondary sources allow you to gain background information on the topic, support or contrast your arguments with other researchers' ideas, and gather information from primary sources that you can't access directly, like private letters or physical documents located elsewhere.
Is everything clear now, grade 8 learners? Alright, this time, let's check if you have understood our lesson for today. Let's have a short test. Please prepare your pen and notebook.
Identify if the sentence is a primary source information or if it is a secondary source information. Write P if it is primary and S if it is secondary. Number your notebook 1 to 15. Again, identify if the sentence is a primary source information or if it is a secondary source information. Write P if it is primary and S if it is secondary. Number your notebook 1 to 15. Write your answer in your notebook. Are you ready, grade 8 learners? Okay, let's do this. For our test, you are going to determine if the sentence is primary source information or secondary source information. In your notebook, write P if it is primary and S if it is secondary. Again, write P if it is primary and S if it is secondary. Are you ready, grade 8 learners? Okay, let's do this. For number 1, a play showing how Benjamin Franklin flew a kite during a lightning storm. Number 2, a short story describing Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla's electrical battle. Number 3, Anne Frank's diary describing her life during World War II. Number 4, a cartoon showing how Pocahontas met John Smith. Number 5, a textbook describing the civil rights movement. Number 6, a news report about the opening of a power plant. Number 7, a scientist explaining what it was like for Buzz Aldrin to walk on the moon. Number 8, a YouTube video describing how the pyramids were built. Number 9, an interview with Alexander Graham Bell about how he invented the telephone. Number 10, a radio broadcast from the day the Soviet Union launched Sputnik. Number 11, an autobiography about the 40th President, Ronald Reagan. Number 12, a book describing Christopher Columbus sailing to America. Number 13, a famous artist's painting of what cowboy life was probably like. Number 14, a journal by a cowboy about the cattle drives from Texas to Kansas. And number 15, the Philippine Constitution.
Are you done, learners? Very good. Now let's check your answers.
These are the answers for your test. Number 1, S. Number 2, S. Number 3, P. Number 4, S. Number 5, S. Number 6, P. Number 7, S. Number 8, S. Number 9, P. Number 10, P. Number 11, P. Number 12, S. Number 13, P. Number 14, P. And 15, P.
How many correct answers did you get? Good job, learners! Now, let's have a short recap on the things being discussed a while ago.
Primary source of information provides raw information and first-hand evidence of an actual event. Also, primary sources represent original thinking, reports on discoveries or events to share new information. While secondary source of information is created later by someone who did not experience firsthand or participate in the events or conditions that he or she is researching. Also, secondary sources help explain new or different positions and ideas about primary sources. Question: is primary source information more useful than secondary source information? The answer is both primary and secondary sources are useful because they complement each other to help build a convincing argument. For your assignment, please refer to your Quarter 3, Module 1, Lesson 2, Activity 4 on page 20. You are going to accomplish the table by getting information from primary and secondary sources about COVID-19. Then, proceed to Activity 5. You are going to make a sentence outline using the information you have gathered about COVID-19 from primary and secondary sources. Did you get it right, learners? Don't forget your assignment.
And that concludes our lesson for today. See you again next time in another learning episode where English is as easy as ABC. Always remember the famous quote by Nelson Mandela that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. Together we win. Deaf